Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Saturday, March 9th, 2019. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL games, look ahead to today's slate, go over some spring training stuff, do my NFL trade value list, my mock bracket, and my best bet of the day. Alright, college hoops will go short on time, so I'm not going to go over the records and point totals. I'm just going to do straight scores just for all the sports. And you know what? I'm not going to do spring training. I just changed my mind on that because I have the two activities that I want to get done. Loyola Chicago defeats Valparaiso 67-54 to advance to the Missouri Valley semis. Bradley over Missouri State 61-58 to advance to the Missouri Valley semis. Brown over Princeton 67-63. VMI over Western Carolina 96-83 in the SoCon first round. Number 19 Buffalo over Bowling Green 84-73. Radford over Charleston Southern 63-54 to advance to the Big South Championship. Kent State over Akron 68-65. Number 15 Virginia Tech over Miami 84-70. Number 24 Maryland over Minnesota 69-60. Northern Illinois over Ball State 64-57. Ohio over Miami of Ohio 66-57. Toledo over Eastern Michigan, 64-58. Central Michigan over Western Michigan, 82-75. Penn over Yale, 77-66. Columbia over Dartmouth, 70-66. Cornell over Harvard, 72-59. Drake over Illinois State, 78-62 in the Missouri Valley quarterfinal. Iona over St. Peter's, 73-71 in the MAC quarterfinal. Stanford over the Citadel, 100-71 in the SoCon first round. Belmont over Austin Peay, 83-67 in the Ohio Valley semifinal. Gardner upsets Campbell 79-74 in the Big South semifinal, so no Chris Clemens in the NCAA tournament. That stinks. Pepperdine over Loyola Marymount 68-65 in the West Coast second round. So that's another big upset. VC over St. Joe's 75-63. Canisius over Manhattan 69-65 in overtime in the Metro Atlantic quarterfinal. Northern Iowa over Southern Illinois 61-58 in the Missouri Valley quarterfinal. That's another upset. Murray State over Jacksonville State 76-74 in the Ohio Valley semifinal. John Moran with the go-ahead three-point play. San Diego over Santa Clara 62-45 in the West Coast second round, so another sort of upset there. Now, today's games. 12 o'clock ESPN, number 5 Tennessee at Auburn. Tennessee's favored by 1.5. I'm taking them to win and cover. Number 14, Florida State, Wake Forest. Florida State's favored by 11. They'll win and cover. VMI against number 22, Wofford in the SoCon quarterfinal. I'm taking Wofford to win. And there's no point spread out yet, but I'm going to guess Wofford's favored by double digits. And I think they'll win by double digits, so I'm going to assume they'll cover the number, whatever it is. Number 23, Villanova against Seton Hall. Villanova's favored by 3. Guess what? I'm taking the Pirates at home. Syracuse against Clemson. Clemson's favored by 5. I'm taking Syracuse to cover, but Clemson to win. Clemson needs this game badly. Notre Dame against Pitt. Pitt's favored by 2. I'm taking Notre Dame. They're just a better team. Butler, Providence. Providence is favored by 2.5. I'm taking Butler. Texas hosts TCU. Texas is favored by 6. Wrong team is not favored necessarily, but it is too big of a line. TCU is going to win outright, I think. FAU, Marshall, Robert Morris, Fairleigh Dickinson in the Northeast semifinal. I'm going to take Dickinson on their home floor. America East quarterfinal, Albany at UMBC. At 1 o'clock, I'm going to take UMBC on their home floor. St. Louis against Bonaventure. Bonaventure's laying 3.5. They're playing very well right now, and I'm taking them to win and cover. Georgia, South Carolina. South Carolina's favored by 6. They'll win and cover. 2 o'clock CBS. Florida at number 6 Kentucky. Kentucky's a 10-point favorite. They're going to win and cover. Number 8 Texas Tech at Iowa State. Texas Tech's favored by 1.5. I'm going to take Iowa State here. They need the game more. ESPN 2 o'clock. Baylor at number 13 Kansas. Kansas is laying 7.5. They'll win and cover. NC State, Boston College on the ACC Network. NC State's favored by 2.5, and I'm going to take NC State to win and cover. A&M at Mississippi State. Mississippi State's favored by 12. It's on ESPN 2. I'm taking the Bulldogs to win and cover. George Mason at George Washington. Mason's favored by 3. They'll win and cover. South Alabama at Appalachian State, Troy at Coastal Carolina, LIU, Brooklyn at St. Francis, Pennsylvania. Northeast Conference semifinal. I'm going to take St. Francis, Pennsylvania here. The line's probably somewhere between 5 and 6, and I think they'll cover that. 2:30 Big Ten Network, number 11 Purdue at Northwestern. Purdue's favored by 6.5. They'll win and cover. On Fox, Georgetown at number 16 Marquette. Marquette's favored by 12. I'm going to take Marquette to win, but Georgetown to cover. SoCon quarterfinal, Chattanooga against East Tennessee State. I'm taking East Tennessee State to win and cover. 3 o'clock UMKC at Chicago State. Old Dominion at UAB. UTSA Southern Miss. Texas State UT Arlington. Oregon State Washington State. Oregon State's favored by 6. They'll win and cover. SEC Network 3:30. Ole Miss at Missouri. Missouri's favored by 1.5. Wrong team's favored. No, wait. Ole Miss is favored, not Missouri. My bad. I said MISS, so it made me think Missouri. But if Missouri was favored, it'd be MIZ on my sheet. But Ole Miss will win and cover. CBS Sports Network, Bradley at Loyola Chicago in the Missouri Valley semifinal. It's actually versus, my bad. I'm taking Loyola Chicago to win. I think they'll be favored by 7.5 points, and I think they'll cover that too. Louisville against number 2 Virginia. Virginia's favored by 13, and I'm taking Virginia to win and cover. Number 25 UCF at Temple. ESPN 2. I'm taking Temple to win and cover. Colonial Athletic Association, first round Towson, James Madison. It's a pick'em. I'm going to take James Madison. Grand Canyon, Seattle, ESPN News, West Virginia, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's a 4.5 point favorite. I'm going to take the Mountaineers here outright. I think they're the better team. In this game, obviously, the loser's the 10th seed in the Big 12 tournament. UL Monroe, Little Rock, UMass, Rhode Island. Rhode Island's favored by 8. They'll win and cover. Fordham at LaSalle. LaSalle's favored by 6.5. I'm going to take LaSalle to win, but Fordham to cover. Arizona State against Arizona. Arizona's a 1 point favorite. I'm taking State on the road. UNLV, Colorado State. Colorado State's laying 3.5. I'm going to take UNLV on the road for the upset. Central Arkansas at Northwestern State. Southeast Louisiana at Nichols at 4:30. Incarnate Word, Abilene Christian. 5 o'clock Georgia State, Georgia Southern. Pac-12 Network, USC, Colorado. Colorado's laying 7. I'm going to take Colorado to win and cover. They've been playing good ball. Louisiana at Arkansas State. On Fox, St. John's at Xavier. Xavier's laying 2.5. And I'm taking Xavier to win and cover. They've been playing good ball. America East quarterfinal, UMass Lowell against Hartford. I'm going to take Hartford here to win. I don't know what the line is, but let's guess the line is somewhere like 6.5, 7, and I think they'll cover that as well. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Mississippi Valley State. That's a 5:30 game. Sam Houston State at Stephen F. Austin. McNeese at Lamar. Game of the night, 6 o'clock, ESPN. Number 4 Duke. Number 3 North Carolina. Undetermined whether Zion Williamson's going to play or not. I'm going to say no. Carolina's favored by 3.5. I'm going to take Carolina to win and cover. Let's assume Zion doesn't play. But if Zion plays, I still think the Tar Heels will win. And if Zion plays, it should be a pick'em. And like I said, Zion or no Zion, the Tar Heels will win this game. They're home and they're playing for a 1 seed here, essentially. So give me the Tar Heels, as they'll have a bit of chip on their shoulder because there's that false reputation about how they lose that game by double digits if Zion plays. That's kind of lurking still. ESPN 2 Oklahoma at number 18 Kansas State. Kansas State's laying 7. I'm going to take Kansas State to win and cover. They're a very good team. And it's senior night there, obviously. Alabama A&M, Grambling, Houston Baptist, and A&M Corpus Christi. Yale Princeton, Alcorn State Prairie View, Brown Penn. The winner of this game goes to the Ivy League tournament, and I'm going to take Penn. Although Brown winning would be a fun story because Brown obviously has been a big surprise in that league this year, and I don't think anybody would have expected them to be in the top 4 in that league. But I'm going to take Penn at the Palestra. Davidson at Richmond. Davidson's laying 4.5. I'm taking them to win and cover. Alabama at Arkansas. Arkansas's laying 3.5. I'm going to take Bama outright on the road. Mexico at Wyoming. SoCon quarterfinal, Samford, UNC Greensboro. I'm going to take Greensboro to win and cover. I'm sure Greensboro is somewhere like a 13.5 point favorite or so. 6 o'clock CBS Sports Network, Northern Iowa against Drake in the MVC semifinal. Northern Iowa is your 6th seed. They obviously pull off that upset. Drake's favored, I'd say, by about 8.5, and I think they'll win and cover that. UNC Wilmington against Elon in the CAA first round. Wilmington's laying 2.5 against Elon. I think Wilmington's going to win and cover, but barely. Alabama State, Jackson State, 7 o'clock Air Force and Boise. Boise's laying 9.5. I'm going to take Boise to win, but Air Force to cover. San Jose State, Fresno State. Fresno's laying a whopping 23 points. I think they'll win. I'm going to say San Jose State stays within the number and loses by 18, so they'll cover there. Pac-12 Network, UCLA at Utah. Utah's laying 4.5. I'm going to take Utah to win and cover. Dartmouth at Cornell, Harvard at Columbia, Northern Arizona, Northern Colorado. Dayton at Duquesne. Dayton's laying 4. I think Dayton will win and cover. Metro Atlantic quarterfinal, Monmouth against Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac's laying 3. I'm taking Quinnipiac to win and cover. I think that's a steal right there. Western Illinois at South Dakota State quarterfinal, Summit League. South Dakota State's laying a whopping 15 points. And I think they'll win and cover. They have the best player on the court, obviously, in that one. America East quarterfinal, Maine against Vermont. Vermont is the best team in that conference. They'll win and cover. I don't even know what the line is. If I had to guess it, I'm going to say it's 15.5. Binghamton, Stony Brook. I'm going to say Stony Brook is like a 14-point favorite, and I think they'd win and cover here. They're just a better team than Binghamton. North Texas at FIU, 8 o'clock ESPN, number 7 Michigan against number 9 Michigan State. Sparty's laying 3.5. I think they'll win and cover despite the injuries. Charlotte Rice, Fox Sports 1, DePaul against Creighton. Creighton's laying 7.5. Creighton needs to win this game. They'll put themselves in a good position to be in that large contender next week if they get the win here, and I think they will against an overrated DePaul team. UC Riverside and UC Davis, the Ohio Valley Conference title game. Murray State, Belmont, 8 o'clock, ESPN 2. This is the game of the night in terms of a postseason game rather than a regular season game like Duke Carolina or Michigan and Sparty. I'm going to say in this game, Belmont is a 3-point favorite. They have the coaching advantage, but the best player on the court is John Morant. And I think Morant will lead the Racers to the NCAA tournament for the second straight year, so give me Murray State there. Vandy at LSU. LSU's laying 14. I'm going to take LSU to win, but Vandy to cover. I think there's a lot of distractions going on with LSU, with Will Wade being suspended in his big mess. I'll get into that on another podcast because I don't have time for it tonight, or today, I should say. Southern against Texas Southern. 8:30 CBS Sports Network. Wichita State against Tulane. Wichita's laying 9. They'll win and cover. They've been playing good ball of late. UTEP Middle Tennessee. SoCon quarterfinal. Mercer against Furman. Furman's laying 10.5. They'll win and cover. 9 o'clock Cal State Bakersfield, Utah Valley. Cal Baptist, New Mexico State. Eastern Washington, Weber State. Idaho State. 9:30 ESPNU. Tulsa against Memphis. Memphis is laying 8. I'm going to say Memphis wins, but Tulsa covers. Summit League quarterfinal, North Dakota against Omaha. Omaha's laying 6. I think they'll win and cover. They're just a better team. Metro Atlantic quarterfinal, Siena against Rider. Rider's laying 1.5. I'm going to take Siena to pull off the upset there. 10 o'clock ESPN 2. West Coast quarterfinal, Pepperdine, San Francisco. San Francisco, I assume, is going to be favored, and I think they'll be favored by 8.5, and I think they'll win and cover my projected number. UC Santa Barbara and Cal Poly. ESPN, Oregon, Washington. Washington's laying 4.5. They'll win and cover. Hawaii and Cal State Fullerton. Montana, Sacramento State. Montana State, Portland State. San Diego State at number 17, Nevada. 10:30 CBS Sports Network. Nevada's laying 14. I think they'll win and cover. Cal State, Northridge, UC Irvine. And then at midnight Eastern Time, West Coast Conference quarterfinal, San Diego, BYU. I'm going to say BYU's favored by 7, and I think they'd win and cover my projected number. NBA. Just going to go through scores, look ahead to tonight's games. Hornets over the Wizards, 112-111. Magic over the Mavs, 111-106. Heat over the Cavs, 126-110. Pistons over the Bulls, 112-104. Rockets over the 76ers, 107-91. Grizzlies over the Jazz, 114-104. Raptors over the Pelicans, 127-104. Warriors over the Nuggets, 122-105. And Clippers over the Thunder, 118-110. Tonight's games, actually one matinee game, the Kings at the Knicks. 7 o'clock, the Nets at the Hawks. 8 o'clock, the Wizards at the Timberwolves. 8:30, ABC, Saturday primetime. Mike Breen, Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson, Lisa Salters on the call. Celtics, Lakers. Boston's laying 4. Geez, it's tempting to take the Lakers outright, isn't it? Because everything's going so well for Boston. They blew out Golden State. Hayward hits a game winner against the Kings. But the Lakers have just been a hot mess. I can't pick the Lakers. There's no evidence for me to pick the Lakers. LeBron's minutes are decreasing. All signs point to Boston to win by double digits. So I'm going to take the Celtics, but I'm not super about this pick at all. 9 o'clock, the Hornets at the Bucks. And 10 o'clock, the Suns at the Trailblazers. NHL. Only 4 games on the slate. Last night, the Panthers over the Wild 6-2. Bad loss for Minnesota on the road. Capitals over the Devils 3-0. Big win for Washington there. Jets over the Hurricanes 8-1. Wow. That is a big time win for the Winnipeg Jets on the road, and a bad loss for the Hurricanes. And then the Ducks over the Canadiens 8-2. Another bad loss by an Eastern Conference playoff contender in Montreal. Bigger slate today, 3 o'clock, Sabres at the Avalanche, 4 o'clock, the Blues at the Sharks, 7 o'clock, the Devils at the Rangers, the Senators at the Bruins, the Red Wings at the Lightning, the Flyers at the Islanders, the Penguins at the Blue Jackets, the Maple Leafs at the Oilers, 8 o'clock, the Hurricanes at the Predators, the Blackhawks at the Stars, the Kings at the Coyotes, and the Golden Knights at the Canucks. I was going to do some baseball, but I'm short on time. Let's go to my mock bracket first, then I'll do trade value. Number 1 overall seed, I have the Gonzaga Bulldogs in the West region. Number 2 overall seed in the South region, the Virginia Cavaliers. The number 3 overall seed in the East region, the North Carolina Tar Heels. And my number 4 overall seed, 1 seed in the Midwest, the Tennessee Volunteers. My 2 seeds in the South, Kentucky, the East, Michigan State, the West, Duke, the Midwest, Texas Tech. 3 seeds in the East, LSU, the West, Michigan, the South, Houston, the Midwest, Florida State. 4 seeds, the East, Kansas State, the West, Virginia Tech, the Midwest, Marquette, and the South, Purdue. 5 seeds, South, Villanova, West, Kansas, Midwest, Wisconsin, East, Nevada. 6 seeds, East, Cincinnati, West, Mississippi State, South, Maryland, and Midwest, Wofford. Yes, Wofford. 7 seeds, South, Iowa, Midwest, Auburn, East, Louisville, West, VCU. 8 seeds, Midwest, NC State, South, Iowa State, East, Buffalo, West, Syracuse. 9 seeds, East, Washington, Midwest, Baylor, South, Ole Miss, West, Oklahoma. 10 seeds, Midwest, Ohio State, East, Seton Hall, South, Arizona State, West, UCF. 11 seeds, West, Creighton, Midwest, Minnesota, South, St. John's, East, TCU. 12 seed play-in game, Midwest, Clemson, Utah State. 12 seeds play-in game in the West, Temple and Georgetown. 12 seed East, Missouri State. 12 seed South, Lipscomb. 13 seeds, South, Hofstra, East, Vermont, Midwest, UC Irvine, West, New Mexico State. 14 seeds, East, Loyola, Chicago, South, Old Dominion, Midwest, Northern Kentucky, West, Yale. 15 seeds, West, Montana, Midwest, South Dakota State, South, Georgia State, East, Colgate. 16 seeds, Midwest, Radford, South, Sam Houston State, West, play-in game, Norfolk State against Prairie View A&M, and East, play-in game, St. Francis, Pennsylvania, and Iona. And now on to my NFL trade value top 150. I broke these players into groups of basically 10. One group is the honorable mentions, which isn't a part of the top 150. It's just 9 honorable mentions. And then there's a overpriced veteran. It consists of 1. There's the paid and happy group. There's the nearing the end group. There's the about to be paid group. There's the rumored to be had group. The young building blocks group. The steady group, meaning these are just steady players. Some of them are paid and some of them are not paid. They just know what they're doing and are just very good or great players, depending on how you view them. Then the rising stars. Then the simply, utterly untouchable group. My honorable mentions are as followed. Jermaine Eliurmer, the offensive lineman of the Ravens. Christian Kirk, the wide receiver from the Cardinals. Kenyon Drake of the Dolphins, the running back. Evan Engram, the tight end of the Giants. Chris Herndon, the tight end of the Jets. Darshawn Hand, defensive lineman of the Lions. Marcus Williams, the defensive back from the Saints. Dalvin Tomlinson, the defensive lineman from the Giants. Carl Lawson, defensive lineman of the Bengals. Number 150, the overpriced veteran, Matt Ryan. This spot came down to Ryan and Matt Stafford, and I chose Ryan because he's a league MVP winner and was in a Super Bowl in his life, and you can't say that about Matthew Stafford. The next group is the paid and happy group. It consists of 5 players. A.J. Bowie of the Jaguars at 149. 148, Casey Hayward of the Chargers. 147, Micah Hyde of the Buffalo Bills. 146, Stephon Gilmore of the Patriots. And 145, Andrew Norwell of the Jaguars. The next group of players is a group of 5, 4 quarterbacks and 1 offensive lineman who are nearing the end of their primes. 144 is Tyron Smith of the Cowboys. And 143 is Ben Roethlisberger. 142 is Phillip Rivers. 141, Drew Brees. 140, Tom Brady. Those 4 quarterbacks are all ending the near ends of their primes. Some of them have shown signs of it, especially Brady before the playoffs. Even Patriot fans were wondering whether they should have taken Lamar Jackson or not over Sonny Michel at some points. And then Brady had the great run in the playoffs, which pretty much got their minds off of that fact for a while. And then Breeze obviously has extended his prime courtesy of the team building around him being very strong with a good offensive line, a great running back, great receiver, and then the good defense on the other side. Phillip Rivers, same thing. Built a great team around him. And I'm worried about Roethlisberger with the pending trade of Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell departing for agency. I'm worried about Ben Roethlisberger. And then there's 2 guys that are coming up on this list that are skill position players from the Steelers that made it pretty high on this list, who I think are going to have big years filling the roles vacated by Brown and Bell. I think it's obvious who those players are, but I'll get to them eventually. The next group of players is the about to be paid group. 139 is Kevin Byard of the Titans. He's headed up for a new contract soon. 138 is Landon Collins, who's a free agent, formerly of the Giants. 137, C.J. Mosley, who's a free agent, formerly of the Ravens. 136, Amari Cooper, currently of the Cowboys, who I think is going to be paid. 135, Melvin Gordon. He has a contract coming up from the Chargers. 134, Le'Veon Bell, who's about to be paid. He's a free agent. 133, Ziggy Ansah of the Lions. He's going to get paid and is now a free agent. My bad. Formerly now of the Lions. 132, Darrell Williams, formerly of the Carolina Panthers. 131, Brandon Scherf, right now is of the Redskins, but he's headed up for a contract year, so I expect the Redskins to pay him unless they foolishly let him go. 130, Trey Flowers, who's currently a free agent. 129, DeMarcus Lawrence of the Cowboys, somebody that I think Jerry Jones is eventually going to pay after getting the franchise tag placed on him. 128, Jadeveon Clowney, somebody who also got a franchise tag placed on him. I think the Texans will eventually pay him. And 127, Dak Prescott, somebody who I know Jerry Jones is going to pay. And the reason why those players were in that same group is because they're about to get paid, and a lot of those players have something to prove courtesy of what their teams feel about them. Although some of these players have made multiple Pro Bowls already and whatnot, and usually once you get paid, you're harder to trade. So that's why those players are this low. The next group of players are rumored to be had. 126, Leonard Fournette of the Jaguars. His name's been thrown out in trade rumors. 125, D Ford of the Chiefs. The Chiefs are looking to trade him. They kept that no secret. 124, Antonio Brown. I think he's going to be traded by the time I do my next podcast. 123, Odell Beckham Jr. I do not think the Giants will trade him, but everybody is saying he's available. Although the GM keeps denying it and denying it and denying it. And 122, Josh Rosen, who many people think is available because everybody thinks it's a lock that Arizona's taking Kyler Murray number 1 overall, which I'm not really sold on yet, but I'm talking myself into it. Maybe my next mock draft, I might have that, even though I predicted on a previous podcast that I didn't think Arizona would draft Murray because I think it's too popular of a prediction. Next group of guys is the young building blocks around the league who are either rookies or just coming off rookie seasons or second years or even third years. 121, George Kittle of the Niners. 120, Desmond King of the Chargers. 119, Jesse Bates of the Bengals. 118, Tre'Davious White of the Bills. 117, Jair Alexander of the Packers. 116, Marshawn Lattimore of the Saints. 115, Malik Hooker of the Colts. 114, Minkah Fitzpatrick of the Dolphins. 113, Philip Lindsay of the Broncos. 112, Dalvin Cook of the Vikings. 111, James Conner of the Steelers. 109, Sonny Michel of the Patriots. 109, DJ Moore of the Panthers. 108, Mike Williams of the Chargers. 107, Calvin Ridley of the Falcons. 106, Cooper Kupp of the Rams. 105, TJ Watt of the Steelers. 104, Gerard Davis of the Lions. 103, De'Aaron Payne of the Redskins. 102, Marcus Davenport of the Saints. 101, Ethan Pocic of the Seahawks. 100, Garrett Bowles of the Broncos. 99, Will Hernandez of the Giants. 98, Mike McGlinchey of the Niners. 97, Dan Feeney of the Chargers. 96, Pat Effelin of the Vikings. 95, Billy Price of the Bengals. 94, Braden Smith of the Colts. 93, Leighton Vander Esch of the Cowboys. 92, Lamar Jackson of the Ravens. 91, Josh Allen of the Bills. Next group of guys is a big group. It's the steady players. All these players are Pro Bowlers and just very good players around the NFL. They're just steady forces that keep their teams going and are just flat out awesome and have shown no signs of slowing down. 90, Harrison Smith of the Vikings. 89, Devontae Freeman of the Falcons. 88, Darius Slay of the Lions. 87, Lavonte David of the Bucks. 86, Telvin Smith of the Jaguars. 85, Melvin Ingram of the Chargers. 84, Zach Ertz of the Eagles. 83, Travis Kelce of the Chiefs. 82, Brandon Cooks of the Rams. 81, Stephon Diggs of the Vikings. 80, Tyler Lockett of the Seahawks. 79, Julian Edelman of the Patriots. 78, Mike Evans of the Bucs. 77, Julio Jones of the Falcons. 76, Devontae Adams of the Packers. 75, T.Y. Hilton of the Colts. 74, Keenan Allen of the Chargers. 73, Adam Thielen of the Vikings. 72, Xavier Rhodes of the Vikings. 71, Patrick Peterson of the Cardinals. 70, Jalen Ramsey of the Jaguars. 69, Gerald McCoy of the Bucs. 68, Cam Hayward of the Steelers. 67, Cameron Jordan of the Saints. 66, Linval Joseph of the Vikings. 65, Fletcher Cox of the Eagles. 64, Jarrell Casey of the Titans. 63, Daniel Hunter of the Vikings. 62, Everson Griffin of the Vikings. 61, Calais Campbell of the Jaguars. 60, Chandler Jones of the Cardinals. 59, Von Miller of the Broncos. 58, Jason Kelsey of the Eagles. 57, Marquise Pouncey of the Steelers. 56, Joel Bitonio of the Browns. 55, Dwayne Brown of the Seahawks. 54, Lane Johnson of the Eagles. 53, Trent Williams of the Redskins. 52, Teron Armstead of the Saints. 51, Mitchell Schwartz of the Chiefs. 50, Taylor Lewan of the Titans. 49, Alex Mack of the Falcons. 48, David DeCastro of the Steelers. 47, David Bakhtiari of the Packers. 46, Zach Martin of the Cowboys. And 45, Cam Newton of the Panthers. Next group of guys is the Rising Stars group. All these players are players I project to make big leaps in their careers, and some of them have obviously shown signs of it. Don't forget, this is a trade value rankings rather than an NFL player rankings, or else Tom Brady would have been higher on this list. So, to my Rising Stars I go on this list. 44, Derrick Henry of the Titans. 43, Byron Jones of the Cowboys. 42, Xavier Howard of the Dolphins. 41, Jamal Adams of the Jets. 40, Eddie Jackson of the Bears. 39, Kyle Fuller of the Bears. 38, Chris Jones of the Chiefs. 37, Denzel Ward of the Browns. 36, Derwin James of the Chargers. 35, Roquan Smith of the Bears. 34, Derek Barnett of the Eagles. 33, Vic Beasley of the Falcons. 32, Juju Smith-Schuster of the Steelers. 31, Tyreek Hill of the Chiefs. 30, Ryan Ramczyk of the Saints. 29, Christian McCaffrey of the Panthers. 28, Sam Darnold of the Jets. 27, Mitch Trubisky of the Bears. 26, Jared Goff of the Rams. 25, Marcus Mariota of the Titans. 24, Darius Leonard of the Colts. 23, Bradley Chubb of the Broncos. 22, Quentin Nelson of the Colts. 21, Deshaun Watson of the Texans. 20, Myles Garrett of the Browns. 19, Baker Mayfield of the Browns. The top 18 are the completely and utterly untouchable players. You could argue some of these players in Tier 2 should have been in Tier 1, like a Watson, but Watson isn't truly all the way back yet from the torn ACL. But two players that are coming off big injuries are in the utterly untouchable because I'm judging them pre-injuries. And obviously there are number 18, Jimmy Garoppolo, and number 17, Carson Wentz. If those guys come back and are a little rusty, they'd be in the next tier down in the Rising Stars tier, or I'd make a tier with those two plus Watson and call it the prove-it quarterbacks that are coming off injuries. And it'd just be those three players. The rest of the untouchable group: 16, Ezekiel Elliott. 15, Todd Gurley. 14, Alvin Kamara. 13, Saquon Barkley. 12, J.J. Watt. 11, Joey Bosa. 10, Michael Thomas. 9, DeAndre Hopkins. 8, Bobby Wagner. 7, Luke Kuechly. 6, Russell Wilson. 5, Aaron Rodgers. 4, Aaron Donald. 3, Khalil Mack. 2, Andrew Luck. And number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Did you have any doubt that Mahomes wouldn't be number 1? League MVP, best quarterback in the league right now, on a rookie contract. So he's obviously deserving of number 1 on this list right now. Instead of my best bet, I decided I'm going to do 2 money line picks instead of the best bet, because some of the money lines aren't really out yet. I'm going to go to the NBA. And I'm going to take, as my money line pick, it's tempting to take the Knicks against the Kings because the Knicks played them close the last time. And usually the team that comes home after a long West Coast trip usually wins. But instead, I know I've been hot on this team a lot and picked them way too much to win outright as a dog, but I'm going to go with the Hawks. They're just a safer bet to win than the Knicks. And I don't trust the Wizards in Minnesota, just especially the way Towns has been playing of late. Not taking the Lakers, no way. That line went up to 4.5 since I last picked it. And I don't trust Charlotte and Milwaukee, and I don't trust the Suns in Portland. So the best underdog pick to win outright is the Atlanta Hawks. Although I was tempted to take the Knicks there. And then college basketball, my money line underdog pick. I'm going to take Syracuse against Clemson. I said earlier that I thought Clemson would win and Syracuse would cover. I'm going to take Syracuse to win outright, actually. I just think they're better than Clemson. And I do still think that Clemson makes the tournament even if they lose this game because of the lack of big conference teams in there. And they always do this. They always give love to the ACC or the Big 12 and pick one of those underachieving teams, and I think Clemson will be one of those teams. So give me Syracuse against Clemson there. That's it for the podcast. I'm going to not do one on Sunday because I haven't done one on a Sunday in a while unless something major happens. So Monday I'll be back. I'll have another mock bracket. I'll go over more stuff with NBA, NHL, college basketball, spring training. Maybe I'll have a mock draft for you. We'll see. And I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.